Recently, we don't know how soon, but it was recently of him at a club without a mask. The story has been developing throughout the day, and our Ramona Shelburne reporting that Harden has told the NBA investigators he thought he was in compliance with safety protocols. Harden and multiple witnesses at the event have told the league that he attended a seated dinner for a friend who'd been recently promoted at work. Harden said he entered through a separate entrance and sat in a separate area with the security detail and that he was wearing a mask. The 2018 NBA MVP also says he left the group and the event after right about 30 minutes. Let's take a look now at what Harden posted on his Instagram account because he is obviously upset. Here's the quote. "One thing after another. I went to show love to my homegirl at her event, not a strip club, because she's becoming a boss and putting her people in position of success. And now it's a problem. Every day it's something different. No matter how many times people try to drag my name under, you can't. The real always ends on top." Let's bring in our Adrian Wojnarowski, who has been reporting on both of these Rockets stories all day long. And let's begin with the game itself. It was supposed to be the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma City Thunder tipping off in Houston tonight at Toyota Center, and that is now off because there weren't enough players to play the game with all that's happening with the three that are right now sitting down because of COVID tracing. And then James Harden, as the league says, he violated some rules. How did we all get to this within the last hour?
Well, Sage, certainly, as you said, the league mandates 8 players to start a game, and the Rockets simply didn't have them, and they were working with the league office all day, retesting and testing players in Houston, and a combination of injuries, of positive tests, and of contact tracing because KJ Martin, the rookie forward with the Rockets, had tested positive. And had been with John Wall and Boogie Cousins and another teammate getting their hair cut at an offsite apartment in one of the players' apartments last night. All of that contributed, along with James Harden's, what the league is calling a violation of their protocol, to not having the 8 players. And simply, Oklahoma City never got on the bus to come over to the arena. They'll head back to the airport and go back home.
And oh, by the way, there are 2 rookie head coaches who are waiting to make their coaching debuts, Steven Silas and Mark Daigneault for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So everything is in a holding pattern right now. Interesting because the Rockets' next game is scheduled for Saturday, the day after Christmas, at Portland. So we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out because there's obviously a chance if all these players are sidelined that they won't be able to play that, get on a plane and play that game either in Portland. So we'll stand by for more news on that. But back to the James Harden specifically, because the league reviewed that video and they did deem him to be in violation of their COVID protocols. So he wouldn't have been eligible to play tonight. And hey, who knows? Maybe Harden being out number-wise was the difference between this game being played and not. Either way, what does this mean for him right now?
Well, both he and the Rockets are waiting to find out what exactly it means. Is there a suspension on the way from the NBA? Is there punishment? Is he going to have to isolate and quarantine away from the team for an extended period of time? That seems almost, at the minimum, a likely outcome of this. And but as of now, neither Harden nor the Rockets have gotten word from the league. I'm told the league office is still working through this decision and how they're going to rule for James Harden. But certainly it impacts not just the Rockets, it impacts trade talks around the league. He's been at the center of conversations for the Rockets with teams around the league. And I think for the very near term anyway, I think it puts some of those on the back burner as teams wait to see what this means, in the short term for Harden. But listen, this is a Houston team that wanted to get off to a good start, wanted to be able to showcase Harden and John Wall on the court together. And it's unclear when they'll be able to do that.
And as far as James Harden is concerned, if indeed he is fined for violating protocols, that means $284,000 per game. And again, who knows how many games it would be, and that still remains to be seen. Woj, I mean, this is incredible considering how difficult of a start it was for the Rockets, even in the preseason, with all the drama surrounding James Harden saying, as our reports, you guys have been reporting, that he wants out of Houston. And then this. They've got a new head coach, a rookie head coach. They've got new management at the top. What's going on inside the walls at the Rockets organization right now?
Well, certainly this was to work through. And I think other organizations, they were looking at Houston today, know that their day may be coming this season. Maybe not with all that is going on with James Harden, but with an outbreak or the fear of an outbreak within the team. And listen, by the end of the day, it was as simple as this for Houston. Can we play our game opening night? And in working with the league office, they couldn't get there with a healthy, available 8 players. But there's no question there's been a lot of stress on this Rockets organization. And it doesn't end today with the postponement of tonight's game with the Thunder. They've got more to work through here moving forward.
Yeah, and imagine being in the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are just a couple of hours away from tip-off, being told, don't even go back home to the airport, go to Oklahoma City. So Adrian Wojnarowski with the very latest on several developing stories within the Rockets organization. Thank you so much. We know that you'll keep us up to date with the very latest. In the meantime, I was talking about their schedule at the Blazers is their next scheduled game. So that's 3 days from now in Portland. We'll see if they'll be allowed to get on that plane, if they have enough players to get on the plane. And then they were supposed to go straight to Denver. Then New Year's Eve against the Kings, January 2nd also against the Kings, and the Dallas Mavericks on January 4th. But once again, it is official. Tonight's game, the opening game for the Rockets and the Thunder, has been postponed.
Admission in that Instagram post that he was in violation of the league's COVID protocol.
Yeah, he could face a suspension, Rachel. And, these protocols are all new to the season, and we haven't seen the league have to punish anyone yet or to execute, at least outside of the bubble. We saw what happened with Daniel House with the Rockets last year inside the bubble, but this is different. And, this has been a recurring theme with James Harden leading into training camp, being in Atlanta, being in Las Vegas. And so, now he's self-isolated and tested negative, I believe, 6 consecutive days before he was allowed and cleared into training camp. But based on what their findings are, and I know the Rockets are working with the league on Harden, to see essentially if he's going to have to be away from the team again, and again, if there's going to be a punishment. So, there's a lot of uncertainty. And by the way, the Rockets open up tonight against Oklahoma City, and I'm told the Thunder have not really had any contact with anybody with the league or the Rockets about what this means for them in their game tonight.
It really is remarkable to see the dominoes. And Woj, you and our colleague Tim McMahon have done such great reporting on this all morning. I've been glued to both of your Twitter feeds. One of the things that came out was confirming, in fact, that sources told ESPN that James Harden indeed had coronavirus earlier this year. It is what made him late for the bubble. Of course, that was the assumption, but it had not been publicly confirmed. And it is my understanding, is it yours, that the league is telling players, even if they've had it, we don't know enough about how immunity from this disease works, that you can't just assume because you've had it, you can run around without a mask or publicly gather, correct?
That's exactly right, Rachel. The rules don't change for you if you have previously tested positive and now just have the antibodies, or you've yet to have the coronavirus. The rules in place are the same. And so they wouldn't be different for James Harden or any other player or individual in the league who's going to be tested and be around his peers.
Really, just every day I wake up and something new is happening in Houston. I know it's 10 times for you guys. Thank you so much for your insight, Woj.
Thanks, Rach.
We will be here all show. So if anything else more breaks, you know where to find us.
Okay, sounds good.
I want to welcome back in Vince Carter, Kendrick Perkins. Guys, I want to start with you, Vince. What is your reaction to hearing the latest news on James Harden?
Well, when I first heard about it, I was like, again? I was like, or is this the same, the
right.
original one? So, I mean, I know he doesn't want to be there, and, he's doing everything he can to get moved. But Perk has said this for a long time now, is Houston Rockets have the keys, and they could do with him what they want. And another thing that he said, that they don't have to move him to the team that he wants to go to. Mm-hmm. So with all of the back and forth and not showing up and going here and going there, they can send you wherever they want to send you and just deal with the consequences. Or, if he doesn't show up to practices, the games, and they play, they're going to continue playing with or without him. So he has to realize, I think if he wants to get moved, he just needs to just do what he needs to do. And I don't want to use the word model citizen, but just come to work, be the James Harden we all know, and increase his value so they'll move and cooperate with him. But right now, I don't see Houston cooperating with him, particularly if they don't get anything of value that it comes close to what he brings to the table.
Yeah, and Vince, Rachel, look, Vince is letting them off the hook pretty easy. This is bad. This is not good for several reasons. And one of those reasons is that, one, if you're trying to get moved, like Vince said, then you have to be a professional, because not only do the Rockets have the keys and they don't have to trade you, but it's a turnoff to other organizations, because I've been hearing from multiple GMs that they're scared of trading for James Harden, and it has nothing to do with his own court. What he does on the court is what he does off the court, and they're scared that if they trade him, that he's going to be a bad example in the locker room because of things like this. And here's another thing that makes me so mad about this. And I love James as a person, but he is burning down the bridge for the younger generation. You know, it's guys like Barkley, Magic, Michael Jordan, all these guys who paved the way for guys like James Harden to be making hundreds of millions of dollars. And right now, the way that James is acting, he's acting selfish, because for the simple fact, they have a younger generation that's coming up. And what's going to happen is the owners are going to go to the CBA when it's time to negotiate, and they're going to say, you know what, we got to discuss things like this. And you don't want to do that. You want to keep making it easier for the next generation of kids to be able to get paid hundreds of millions of dollars. So right now, I don't approve of anything that James is doing. And I saw his Instagram post. We're not trying to drag his name through the mud. He's creating these problems himself. We just have to address it.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I want to stress, the NBA in general, there's no morality thing here about its players going to strip clubs, because, gosh, guys, that's been happening for quite a long time. It's right now in coronavirus. It's the same issue with, exactly, you've heard that once or twice, Vince. It's the same issue with Lou Williams. There was no morality judgment about, oh man, he was in a strip club. You just can't. It puts your teammates in jeopardy. It puts the rest of the league in jeopardy. It goes back to the selfishness that you're talking about.